The Redjacks escorted us past Banshee and down the stairs from the courtyard. The initial crowd of guardians had mostly dispersed after Saint gave his speech. The remaining civilian population, however, still gathered around as we made our way. The general chatter started to increase in volume as we made our way past all the vendors. Cade had made many friends in the bazaar over time, with his excursions into remote areas for special materials. His exploits were legendary, and his humor always made for a good story. I could feel the usual positive, vibrant tone of the area begin shifting. The vendors were not happy with what they saw and heard from Saint. Some of them began making catcalls and hooting at us as we moved. I was standing to Uldren's left, just behind him, when something flew past my head and bounced off the wall. A warm, smelly liquid splattered all over the wall and floor. That was the breaking point. The air quickly filled with cursing, screaming, and more projectiles. The civilians made it very clear they didn't want Uldren anywhere near them. I could see Lord Shax become slightly more annoyed than usual at this sudden change in the tone of the bazaar. He rarely comes down here, and now I understood why. Since he was the biggest target, nearly everything was coming at him from every direction imaginable. I looked up to see Soraya Hawthorne leap down from her perch above it all and start pulling vendors away from the group. She screamed at those she knew and began smacking those she didn't, with anything she could reach.
What the bloody hell did you stir up this time, Guardian? You just never quit, do you?
I don't need a lecture, Soraya. Not today.
The Redjacks responded to the increased threat level by forming a barrier between the civilians and Uldren. I grabbed him by his collar and pulled him down the stairs toward where Ada was. It was the simplest solution I could come up with, because I could control access through the tight hallway. Lord Shax must have thought the same thing, because I could hear his thundering steps behind me as I pushed Uldren down the long hall of empty stores toward the annex. I started down the second set of steps and nearly fell over the drifter just standing there, flipping his coin.
Hey, hero. Looks like you...
Lord Shax grabbed the top of Drifter's tiny head with his massive hands.
Continue on, Guardian. I'll be there shortly after I get our little friend here to help me with crowd control.
He pushed the Drifter up the stairs.
This is going to take more than just me yelling at people, little man.
I guided Uldren into the Black Armory room. I glanced behind me to make sure no one had broken through the line, when I heard Uldren's voice.
Hello again, Ada. I know you weren't expecting to see me so soon.
Uldren.
They hugged. Odd.
Guardian. What's going on?
It's time. It's time for the change.
Well, I suppose sooner is better than later.
Is anyone ever ready for anything the Traveler asks us to do?
I was taken aback by his calm, contemplative tone. Again, no rage. No seething anger at anything. I still couldn't get over his innocence in the face of all of this. It was almost as if, because the Traveler wiped his mind of all previous memories, such that the pure light of spending so much time alone with his thoughts, that the Traveler had turned him into a small, curious child. The deep, resounding voices of Saint and Shax echoing from the hall snapped me out of my trance.
Guardian! What a day!
He hugged me hard, and then smacked Shax in the chest.
Well done, my old friend.
Ada quickly interrupted.
Gentlemen, I cannot have a Titan reunion party in this armory. There isn't enough glimmer in all the city to replace all the things you will break.
Shax nodded his head.
Of course, of course. Saint, we shall talk soon.
Saint turned to me.
Guardian, I just spoke with Zavala, and, well...
His voice trailed off.
He's not having any of this, is he?
No, he's not.
Saint put his hands on his hips and shook his head slowly.
He calls this a distraction from our goals at the moment. I said to him, Zavala, we must heal ourselves before we can fight anyone. Then he said, Saint, I cannot abide this diversion from the path we have before us. I need you to return to your place in the hangar and continue training guardians in the trials, and this foolishness must cease.
Saint paused and looked at Uldren. He put his hand on Uldren and turned to me.
The trials are being used less and less, my friend. Guardians are more concerned with getting their loot and chasing ghosts of lost battles.
Was Saint losing his confidence? I almost heard self-doubt in his voice. That feeling was quickly squashed.
I care too much about this city and these people to just stand here and let this opportunity pass us by.
He turned back to Uldren and pointed at him with a stern finger.
The Vanguard must stand united as one if we are to fight the darkness. And you will be that catalyst.
Saint, you can't be serious. Are you saying...
Yes, my friend. We need a new Hunter Vanguard. I don't care if Zavala likes it or not. I don't care what the civilians may say at first.
He walked over to me and slapped both hands onto my shoulders, pulling himself close to me.
Let's treat this wound, Guardian. Let's push the city forward under one banner, with one voice.
He pulled Uldren over to us.
One banner, one voice. It's time to heal.